So let's talk about bioregenesis, because that is the heart of your book. At the heart of your book, Reimagine You. You describe it as an innovative method for rejuvenating our DNA blueprint, which we have kind of been talking about quite a bit so far. So I'd love for you to tell us more about that. What is bioregenesis and its significance?
You know, we're in an age where biohacking and longevity is very much what's of interest to people today. So biohacking is, again, optimizing our system, and it's usually done through nutrition, supplements, fitness, trackers, devices, technology. Bioregenesis, on the other hand, comes from the thought that we can regenerate ourselves, that our cells have cell memory. They remember who we truly are if we get back to the DNA and repair it. So it goes deeper than biohacking. It's going with the body's inherent ability to heal itself. And look, we go back to your hurt finger.
Yeah, my hurt finger.
And I've got quite a few cats at the moment and another rescue kitten. So if I get scratched, I don't think twice about that, because I know in a week or so it'll be gone. And you know that this will heal, that you don't really have to do very much for it, that your body has the innate intelligence. It knows what to do.
Yep.
And it also goes back to, with the source feeding, the breatharian path. If you think about it, when you're sick, when you're ill, you don't want to eat. It's other people who say, you need to eat, you must eat, you must eat. Mm-hmm. But actually, when you're unwell, your body wants to rest from all food. And what does it do? It gets on and it repairs itself. Unfortunately, though, because of the distortions in our food, our water supply, in the air, and the distortions in our DNA, our body is not able to heal the way that it should. And this is also where, dry fasting comes in. And of course, we're in Ramadan right now. With dry fasting, 1 day of dry fasting is equal to 3 days of water fasting, because with dry fasting, what happens is you start to release your own endogenous water, your own natural living water from your fat cells. And whereas if you're water fasting, the body still has to deal with the toxins in the water. No matter how pure the water, mm-hmm. There's, the microplastics and often there's lead and arsenic in our water supplies as well.
Yeah.
But with your own endogenous water, it's more palatable to the system. And then the longer you dry fast, then the stem cell crew start kicking in. Your body does what it does best. There's actually loads of research coming out of Russia on this, in terms of a doctor called Dr. Sergei Filanov. Mm-hmm. He actually takes people on 7 and 11-day dry fasts.
Wow.
Now, again, fasting is different from what I'm doing, because fasting, you're still dependent on food and water, so it's not sustainable long term.
Yes.
However, what the dry fasting and research on dry fasting does prove is bioregenesis. Yeah. It allows the body to do what it does best. Mm-hmm. It kickstarts it to remember that it has natural healing abilities. So it's allowing your body to get on with it, rather than putting more toxins in, which is what we tend to do. And here's the other thing. The most important thing here is that your cells have energy. Your cells, to repair the DNA and to repair your body and to heal you, your cells do not directly get energy from the food that you eat. It has to go through a very, very complicated process to make ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And if you think about most of the food that we eat and the toxins in the food, so it's only squeezing a little ATP out of it, and then that ATP, that energy it does get, goes to dealing with the toxins that were in your food. Not only that, but the food that we eat, if we go back to energy, it has an energy signature from where it was grown, how it was grown, who picked it, how it was picked, how it was cooked, how it was handled. That energy signature is blending with your own energy signature and either helping you or harming you. So for my model of the world, I decided for my thesis to start experimenting with source feeding nourishing myself in another way. And there are many levels to consider. So I should also say this is not a path for everybody.
That's what I was going to say, right?
It's a spiritual initiation. And when I talk to
if they have underlying health conditions or something like that, I mean, they should use their discretion.
Oh, look, they
should use their discretion. I have to say that, everybody.
Yes, this is a spiritual initiation, and it's not for everyone.
Yes.
And there are different levels to consider.
Okay.
So I'm what's called a level 3 breatharian. So do I eat? Sometimes, yes.
Okay. When you say sometimes, how often are we talking?
I usually have a main meal once a week or once every couple of weeks.
Really?
I drink diluted juice. I like a cup of tea. I love hummus. I'll have a spoonful of hummus here and there. I like chocolate, so maybe I'll have a piece of chocolate with a cup of tea. Because we miss taste and we mistake texture. However, I know that if I go hiking or I'm having a nourishing conversation with you, that's nourishing me in many different ways. So what I like to get people to think about is to think about nourishment in other ways rather than just what's on your plate. Because are you eating because it's lunchtime, breakfast time, dinner time?
I mean, that's what we've been taught, right?
Or are you eating because you want love, because you're depressed, because you're happy, or because it's social? There are so many, what are you really hungry for? So it's getting people to think a little bit more that there are other ways to nourish themselves. Like, how nourishing is it when you hear your favorite song come on and it's like, oh my goodness, I've got to move.
Yeah, when you go on a nice holiday, I can go on for the whole day and not eat.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's
I know
nourishing.
exactly what you're talking about.
So I'm not advocating my path. I'm advocating reimagining nourishment, what nourishes you. So for me, you heard how excited I was about aerial hoop classes.
Yeah.
Love it. It nourishes me. I go hiking, nourishes me.
Yeah.
We already know that, and there's lots of research, that the sun is able to help us produce vitamin D and K.
Yes.
If the sun can do that, what else can it do? Yeah. But interestingly enough, what do? In sunlight, we put on sunscreen, and we wear sunglasses. We block it. Yet your body has its own innate intelligence to actually know when you've had enough sun, when you've absorbed enough nourishments. So we actually have been conditioned to turn off a lot of the ways to nourish ourselves. And in groups, when I ask them, why do you eat? Most of them say, for energy.
Yeah.
How many people, after they've eaten, go...
Yeah.
If I eat...
I cannot eat a heavy meal before a podcast interview because my brain will just...
you're kind of like...
Yeah. I won't be sharp. I just won't...
Exactly.
I won't be as articulate if I eat
I'm
too
asking
much.
you, does it give you energy?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And most people feel more energized when they're having a great conversation, when they're, as I said, listening to music or dancing or absorbed in painting or art or doing something that they love.
Yeah.
That's where people say, I forgot to eat. I was so absorbed in it. Of course, and your body's not starving. You were nourished in other ways. And as I said, there's also lots of research in terms of, maybe you've had the experience, Seline, where you've taken a glass of water, put it outside in the light to energize the water, and then you drink it.
Yes.
Well, if you think about it, instead of putting a glass out, our body is the container.
Yeah.
What are we contained with? 60 to 70% water.
That's right.
So even when we're outside, it's been proven. I think it's William Brown from the Resonance Academy and another professor from the University of Washington. He wrote a book called The Fourth Phase of Water that shows that, when we're in light, our cells can absorb that light and it produces the energy for the cells to repair our DNA and repair our body. And there's so much other research.
Do you take supplements?
Do I take supplements? Occasionally,
okay,
but not very often. Whereas
you look healthy.
I used to have a whole cupboard full of supplements. It saves me so much money.
Yeah, I know they are expensive.
And this is what I see is, we now hear about supplements that I'd never heard of. When I was a child, it was just, your vitamin C, that was about it. But there's so many different supplements, and I see so much misinformation out there where you suddenly hear about this or that and you start taking that. But if you're only taking that in isolation, how does it mix with all the other minerals and other things that you're going on? So when people say, do I take supplements? Very, very occasionally. Very occasionally. And it'll be like, a one-off, one day. That, for me, again, it's tuning in. Where am I at? How do I feel?
Okay.
And you're right. If I do eat, and I'm very blessed, I have great friends, because I said to them, it's my choice. Sometimes, please.
That could be a challenge when you're socializing.
Invite me. I may sit and just have a diluted juice.
Yes.
Or I may have a diluted soup. Or a cup of tea. Or I may eat with you. Invite me, because I find that nourishing. If I do partake, I have to rush straight home, because I'm passed out.
Really? Wow.
It does not give me energy. It takes every last drop from me.
Interesting.
So it's been a very interesting journey, though, to monitor. When I was on the Darkroom Breatharian program last year. I went on another one where we were dry fasting as well. And we had a 2-month protocol where only diluted juices or liquids for 2 months. No chewing, no using this muscle.
Wow, okay.
Because to retrain. And again, it's very interesting when you go to a food cupboard. For what purpose am I here? What am I hungry for? The conditioning, the programming. So it challenges so much. You learn so much about yourself when you study your eating habits and your food habits.
Yeah. My concern about source feeding is that we can teeter on, the possibility of becoming malnourished or developing an eating disorder.
Yes.
How can we prevent that from happening?
Again, this is the conditioning, the beliefs, the programming of what's possible, what's not.
Okay.
I've run firewalking events for over 20 years, Seline. I remember one person saying, it's impossible. I have got pictures, videos, I've done it hundreds of times myself, I've taken thousands of people through, and it was just not in her model of the world. It's called cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
And when you're programmed and patterned in a specific way, you cannot see it.
Okay.
And this is when we have, if we go full circle, those times in your life where there's maybe a financial collapse, emotional collapse, when your reality crumbles in some way. You go into chaos. But when your reality crumbles, you evolve in a whole new way, and it starts to open the door that you challenge some of the things that you've been taught and told.
Okay.
And we all go through this. We've all gone through that stage where it's like, I know everything now. And then a few years later, it's like, oh, I can't believe I said that or did that. You've gone to a whole new level. There's always more, because everything on this planet is either growing or dying.
Yes.
Which side of the equation do you want to be on? And I know I want to be on the growth one.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of our own evolution.